Hi, this is your video feedback for your first iteration of your portfolio this week. There's a few things that I think you can do. One of the things you want to keep in mind is that you want to limit the types of text that you use, and that even means where you have italic or bold or regular, bold italic. Here you have a serif with the little flags here on the side, you'll see. You want to have as little text as you need. All right. So, for example, I think you can take off photographer because a cinematographer usually is also a photographer. And I think 3 would be fine, cinematographer, director, editor. I think you have us scrolling, and I think really we can get up here somewhere what it is you do, and maybe put Rich Haven Studios up here, and try to get into your reel a little sooner, I think, because I'm not sure how I feel about having a button here when it's just right here. The logo there's some really great things about it. I can't read this part very well, and you'll want to be sure, if you don't already have it, some versions that are just black and white, for example, or rather, don't have the transition here. You do have a serif and sans serif, but you're kind of using both for your headers. So what you want to do is have a sans serif and a serif, but one should be for body copy and one should be for headers. Okay, instead of having a variety here. You might want, for this, somehow this is telling me, or it makes me feel that this wants to be a sans serif. Maybe because of the numbers here, maybe because we've got these squares and blocks going on, and sans serif is usually a block type of lettering. So that's something. And plus your logo is a sans serif. You might try and match that here. I think that would work rather than this I, you see, if you look at that one. That's something that I think you could look at. I also think, I'm not sure you need the instruction to scroll here. In some ways it's a good idea, but I'm not sure it's necessary. Demo reel, it's pretty redundant, so I don't think it needs to be this big, and I think something a little more discreet down here that is not in an italic. This is a great little piece. I looked at it, and the color is really strong. The lighting is beautiful. I think I'd almost like to see a scissor reel. I don't know that this is yours, and so in that situation, I know the color works, but as a cinematographer, you want to be sure that whatever you're using on your site, you created. Okay, so make sure that that's not stock image or stock video. Okay. You have your contact here. I know you have a form if we go to this. I'm not sure you need both, have it here and the contact button. If you want this in your footer, that's fine. But I'm not sure you need this here at all. You have this, perhaps having it here smaller. That does create a stacked issue when it's a little wider, but I think having a button here by itself, you might as well just have it here, is my feeling on that. We have a lot of space here. You might want to take that out. I'm not sure you need this at all because I feel like it should be on your contact page. Okay, and here's the thing that I want you to think about. Two things here. It's better not to have two lines for a call to action like this, in this case. And the kerning, that is the space between the letters, is extended here. We need to bring it in just a little if you were to use this. And while this is a nice image, the color and everything is right, we just don't get into your information soon enough. So if you wanted to use an image like this and you wanted to put a box, for example, that is maybe a cream color in, you can try the opacity, 15 to 25%, you can try that, and put this content, this form, on top of that. Okay. And then take this off, and you can have it down here. I'm not a fan of this italic, bold red. There's really no red to pick up here. It is in your logo, but none of these images, you've got this warm sepia color. So I want to see like a brown, and I'd like to see here upper lowercase, I think. We have now an added font. Yeah. So I think you really want to simplify the number of fonts you're using. Stick to 2. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to say the same thing here. We need to get into your services quicker. Same thing with the font here. You probably can get all of these, almost all of these, on the same, you can reduce this down a little bit, this down a little bit, and probably have 2 columns. Take this and just make a header, probably up here, promotional videos, a header up here, smaller, probably in black, not in italic, and in upper lowercase possibly. You might be able to have it in all caps if it's black and it's not too big. And then that will clean that up, and you will be able to scroll less, which is we want to not scroll so much, and we don't want to do a lot of clicking. We don't want our user to have to hunt for things. This is a fun background, but it's not working with your title here. You can see that it's overlapping words, so we don't want to do that. It's also a changed aesthetic, and I know it sounds like I'm really going into a lot of changes here, but once you make some of these simple changes, it's going to fall together, and I think you're going to be happier with it. But the key is we want to get into, and you can fix this navigation up here. Maybe just bring it up a little higher, and I would use a sans serif here. Okay, and no italic. Because if everything's italicized, then nothing's italicized. It's like if everything is bold in a paragraph, nothing is actually bold or standing out. Okay. There's a place for full sentences, and You don't have to always do that for your headers. So if you're going to use this, and I'm not saying you need to, but if you choose to use this, I would say passion, comma, excellence, dash, the finest measure. Okay. And, you know, again, we're going into a number of different fonts. You'll want to make sure that next week you have no placeholder text, so you'll have to do some copywriting. Just be consistent with your headers, but make sure you make those changes that were discussed. This is a nice background. It works with your aesthetics very nicely. But again, we're not getting into the content that we tell them they're going to find here. So that's something that you're going to have to decide. Yeah, the main thing is this content. I know this looks good and that's great, but you're going to have to find a way to get into that content if you're, you know, adding a box here, a rectangle that is in again, a cream that is consistent with the other one with the same transparency level, and a short. It doesn't have to, it can be this long. You don't need to have it that long with both. You can just have one nice paragraph there. All right. And I would choose between this or this. I wouldn't have two of these things on the same page. All right. This is a nice aesthetic. Another nice background image. Again, it'd be great if you could duplicate these, because I'm not convinced yet that these are yours. Maybe they are. Yeah, I would just put your address down here in a footer and have this down here with the contact there. I'm not sure I'd go into all of that here. I would put it on your contact page. And only the bare necessities down here, like your email, for example, down in a footer. These things, you know, they want to be aligned, your headers. I would take this off and yeah, so stick to either white or a brown for your, or black for your lettering. But again, we want to get into that a little quicker. All right. Let's be careful about cutting faces off like that, okay? That's something we don't want to do. And just in the future, you'll want to make sure you don't cut hands off as well. It's okay here, you know, but yeah. I love this. I think it's terrific. It has great color. You'll need something here. I think I would reduce this down a little bit. This is great as far as the diagonal and the motion that you're capturing here. Love it. The color is really great. You know, you just don't want to have it break where it is. That would be better if you can bring it in like that once you come in. So that may mean bringing all this up and maybe taking this off. Here's something you could do. Take the black box off of this, remove this, bring your navigation up a little bit in a sans serif, and just have it on the photo. Have this on your photo and see if that works throughout. If putting that on your, taking this off, getting into your images here much quicker. Simplify that font and you can have 2 columns. That's what I would try. All right. Okay. All right. Good job. Once you go through and yours is just a job of editing. You're going to edit some things out. Okay, you're not necessarily going to add anything. What you have is fine. What you have is really good. You just need to edit down some things. Okay, remove some things. All right, good job. All right. I like the depth that is in this image. I like your logo. It's nice and simple. The yellow isn't showing up. That's for you to think about. I don't have an issue with that. It's overlapping a little bit. It's not too bad, but something to think about. You could move it up here if you needed to because that image is black there. I like Audio Made Simple. I like the font is very simple as well. And Take a Listen is a nice, interesting way of inviting them into your work. Very nice. Okay. And, well, I'll let you decide if this has a little bit too much space there. These are great images. I hope they're yours. Let's see where we're going. This works. It works because I believe this is the same font. And so what you've done is you've got a really great body font too. Okay, Jacob. I like this, learn about pricing instead of pricing, so it's something that they have time to think about. This really works. The spacing here I think isn't quite right. I think you're going to need to look at where your navigation falls. Not a difficult thing, but I think that's what you're going to have to look at. The color's great. It works really well. Yeah, we want to get into this quicker. So maybe your logo comes down a little, or maybe this color is actually the whole thing. Just need to, we've got a lot of space here that's not really being utilized for what you're telling them they're going to get on this page. But the text and the layout, everything's just really nice. Same thing here. Even if it's like this and we bring this down a little bit, we really need to get into that quicker. Because remember, people are scanning when they come here. So when they go here, they're scanning, but they're still kind of seeing the menu or the navigation, and they're really coming here for this. And they like when they can see the whole thing from beginning to end. It helps them understand quickly. Okay. That's a great photo. It's nice too. Terrific. And I know you've been working on this for a while. Interesting. Okay. All right. The aesthetic's great. Feels good. Everything matches. All your images are professional, and they are tied together very well. Just a little bit of functionality there as far as your layout. Okay, good job.